Welcome to our YouTube channel. In this video we're going to be demonstrating how to install our Pannier racks on a 2018-2019 standard version Africa Twin. So first of all, remove the rider seat. Next, grab a 10mm socket with a wrench and extension or a spanner and remove both bolts that secure the passenger seat. Grab a 12mm socket, extension and ratchet and remove both bolts from the black bracket that secure the seat. Next up, you will have to remove the blue side panels. On this model it's blue. These are secured with tabs. Be gentle, very careful. The plastic is flexible. You will have to make sure those tabs disengage and then gently go around and remove the side panels on both sides. So once again, repeat the same on the left side of the motorcycle. Remove the panel, gently pop those tabs off. Go around little by little. Alright, 12mm socket, extension and ratchet. And remove all 4 bolts from the subframe. And this will take you one step closer to removing the passenger handle. Once you've loosened those bolts, put the ratchet down, leave the extension and the socket, and just hand spin the bolts out of their place. Keep the 12mm socket, extension and ratchet and remove both bolts from the rear end of the passenger handle. Next, grab a 4mm Allen socket, extension and ratchet. Reach deep in there where you will find the corresponding bolt and remove both of them. So now that all bolts have been removed, 4 at the front and 2 at the back, you can gently lift up the passenger handle and remove it. Now we have access to the rear tail light. You will be using a 10mm socket or wrench to remove those 2 bolts. But first, disconnect the light, put the cable to the side, and then go ahead and grab the 10mm socket with the wrench or spanners. Just as with the side panels, make sure to go at it gently. Move it around a bit. The tabs will disengage and you will be able to pop off the small plastic panel on top of the light and also pull off the tail light. Next, you will be loosening and partially removing the license plate holder / rear fender, 4mm Allen socket, extension and ratchet. Loosen it, put the ratchet to the side, and just use the extension and the Allen socket to remove the bolts. It's going to drop gently, not all the way through. Remove the bolts, put them to the side. You will have to use it again. Now the rear end is loose. Make sure the cable is not in the way. Let it drop down a bit further and move to the next step. Now we're going to start preparing to mount our top cross brace, but first we'll have to remove those bolts and nuts. This is our top cross brace, which will go right in there. Loosen and remove the bolts and a nut, both sides.
Tak teď si vezmu tuhle distanci, nechám si matku a tenhle šroub nebudu potřebovat. To samé na téhle straně. Nechám si tuhle distanci, tohle nepotřebuji. Přesně tak.
Now you will grab our supplied bolts and spacers, 8mm diameter bolts. Place it like that on both sides. Make sure that the longer side of the brace goes on the exhaust side. It's good to have a helping hand. If you have somebody helping you, make sure to put the OEM spacer back on top of our spacer before you slide it back in, and then the bracket goes back on top. Then our nylock nut, hand threaded on. Repeat same thing on the other side. Grab our long supplied bolt, spacer, OEM spacer. Push it through and put our supplied nylock knot on top, thread it on. Now you can fully tighten both bolts. Again, it helps if there's another person holding the cross brace down for you. And then very gently, without pinching any cables, place the rear fender back into its place, like so. So now that the rear fender is back in its place, you can put the OEM bolts back in, grab your 4mm Allen socket and extension or driver. Tighten the bolts, because this is your last chance to tighten these bolts, so make sure to go ahead and torque him down. Like so. Now you will put the tail light back into its place, pop it back in, make sure to connect the light. Okay, grab the OEM spacers that you removed from the light, slide them back into the grommet, grab the OEM nuts and thread them back on, both sides, and tighten it. So this is your last chance to torque these nuts down, so make sure to do so. Go ahead, torque them down, because you will be putting the passenger handle back on. Make sure to pop the plastic panel back on top of the tail light. Make sure that all tabs engage properly, like so. And then move on. This is really important. Try to cover the end of the subframe. There's a chance that if a nut or bolt gets loose, it ends up in the subframe and you're going to have a really hard time removing it. We're talking from experience. So make sure to cover it. Otherwise, you will have to get into a big job to remove any dropped bolt or nut. Alright, now grab the passenger handle, place it back on, replace the OEM bolts. The sequence doesn't matter. You can start with the rear or you can start with the side ones. It makes no difference as long as you replace all 6 of them. First hand thread. You don't need any tool at this point. When they've caught the thread, you can go ahead and tighten all. Okay, this is very important. Don't forget about the 2 small Allen bolts. Put them back into the passenger handle through the rear end. You will have to place them back in horizontally. grab your 4mm Allen key and an extension or a driver and thread them back in gently and carefully. Okay, replace the OEM bolts with the OEM spacer, hand thread them back in, and then grab the 12mm socket, extension, and ratchet, and torque them down. Now you can go ahead and place the right side panel back on. Gently, just as the way you removed it, make sure to be patient with those little tabs that need to pop back in, even though they're flexible. Gently pop them back in, press on it, make sure they are not loose. Repeat the same on the left side. Check the bottom side as well. When the bottom side engages all tabs, then the top ones will engage easier. Like so. Now grab the supplied brackets. It's shaped like a question mark. Reuse the OEM bolts. Hand thread the bolt. No need for tools at this point. When you have both brackets on, you can grab the 12mm socket and extension or a driver and gently tighten, not fully, just gently, and leave them loose like that. Now finish the front end. Those are the seat brackets. Put the OEM bolt back in and torque him down like so. Next is to remove the passenger foot peg. Now grab our supplied aluminum spacer Put the bolt back in. Spacer goes on top of the foot peg and in between the frame, and thread the bolt in. Remove the rear one. Put it to the side. Now grab the left side pannier, top arm tied into the question mark shaped bracket using our supplied 8mm diameter bolt and locking nut. And now you will connect the left side pannier rack with the cross brace that runs under the fender. Drop the bolt in, and from the underside, hand thread on the locking nut, like so. Now, same as on the other side, remove the passenger foot peg. The front mounting hole is where you will put the supply spacer. The spacer will go in between the passenger foot peg and the subframe. Put the bolt back in, hand thread it, use a socket and extension to thread the bolt back in carefully, and then leave it loose and grab the right side pannier rack. The short arm is what gets tied into the question mark shaped bracket first, 8mm diameter bolt, and locking nut on the other side. So once this is done, you can grab another supplied bolt and a locking nut and tie it into the cross brace underneath the fender. Leave it loose. Now the rear cross brace, grab all 4 6mm diameter bolts and locking nuts. Line up the mounting holes, push the bolts through, and hand thread the supplied locking nuts. Now grab a 10mm socket and ratchet, and on the other side use a 10mm wrench or spanner and tighten all 4 nuts and bolts. And now you can begin tightening each bolt and nut. And then using the same tools, go around and torque every bolt and nut down. Final step, put the passenger seat back on, put the OEM bolts back in, hand thread them in, and then tighten them, torque them down. Grab the rider's seat, pop it back in, lock it in, and you're done. Thank you for watching.